What's up, Internet? My name's Ori. Welcome back to the channel. It is Thursday, August 8th, day number 24 inside the Big Brother house. It is eviction day. Who's going to be America's veto vote? Who's going to be the AI arena winner? We have the episode from last night to go over, plus everything that happened on the live feed yesterday. Let's go over all the intel, drama, and more. But first, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button. You like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. I will say too, I've heard a lot of people saying they weren't getting notifications and that YouTube might have unsubbed them. So maybe double check those things if you did click them before. Let's jump into what happened on the episode. There's not too much to talk about, but we did see some interesting stuff. We saw Chemo kind of confirming Quinn's power to Tucker. We also saw Kenney. They finally kind of showed how flip-floppy he is on whether he wants to go home, whether he wants to stay. So that was kind of good to see. We then had a really fun veto competition. I really do like the direction they're going with the veto comps, or just the comps in general. This season, they feel just like they're putting a little bit more thought into them. This one was more precision based than it was speed, but it was kind of like a giant form of operation. I think Cedric even mentioned that. I think I even said that in my video when I first heard about like how it was with avoiding the vines, and it did. The way they were originally describing it, I thought it was almost like a tilt puzzle type thing. But it was just this big object they had to move around. And I was like, well, all right, that seems kind of cool. MJ actually beat me with the good old friends pivot. Pivot. She beat me to that. I was going to make that joke, and then she said it on the episode. So you know what? Good for her. And Tucker went full crocodile hunter. He was getting fully invested in this, and he ends up winning. He wins veto. We knew that was a thing. And he goes on a mission after this to tell everyone about the powers from MJ and Quinn. He brings it up to Cedric, and he comes up with this whole plan about using the power of veto that he won on Angela so that Quinn can go up on the block. Cedric tried to talk about him, but he denied. All the power stuff just kind of kept diverting all the questions about it, saying maybe it was Lisa. And it was actually a pretty funny conversation. Joseph was there too, but like Joseph thinks he's the star of the show, but he literally wasn't even mentioned. He just kind of showed up in the conversation with Cedric and with Quinn talking about the power. The funny thing is, though, all three of them know about Quinn's power, right? Joseph knew about Quinn's power. Cedric knew about Quinn's power. And obviously, Quinn knows he has a power. But none of the three knew that the other three knew, right? Like Quinn didn't know either of them knew. Cedric didn't know that Joseph knew, and Joseph didn't know that Cedric knew. But they're all talking about the power, and that was kind of funny that Joseph didn't even get mentioned in that conversation. And it's also the same night. I'm pretty sure that's the same night he said, "I'm the star of the show." uh, we then got Cedric struggling with the whole idea of like, is it MJ? Is it Quinn? He kind of went to talk to MJ to see if maybe he could like soften the blow. He wasn't really feeling it. It was definitely like, yo, you're going to make an enemy of me. But listen, one of the things that Cedric kept saying when he was going into this HOH is like, oh, it's going to be a squeaky clean HOH. And I've been very adamant to say there is never a squeaky clean HOH. No matter how easy you think an HOH is going to be, it is never easy. You will always have at least one person who you put on the block who will stay in the game. Period. It doesn't matter if they volunteered. It doesn't matter if they say they're cool with it. It's someone that you are physically saying, you get to step and put your butt on that chair, right? There's no way around that. And one of those people, of the two that you have to name, in this case, three that you have to name, one of those people will have to stay. Period. So there's never a squeaky clean HOH. This one did seem like, you know what, maybe he could get away with, at least only like one person being mad. But at the end of the day, there were still going to be people he put on the block who were going to stay and come after him. There's never an easy HOH, period. And he was hoping that, hey, maybe if he puts MJ up, then, it's even easier because she's going to be okay with it. She wasn't. And that takes us to the veto meeting. I did wish that they showed us Cedric telling Tucker, hey, don't use the veto on Angela. Use it on yourself. But they didn't show that. Maybe they're saving it for tonight's episode where we'll see more of the fallout from the veto ceremony. But man, the ceremony was great. Tucker standing up and saying, you know what, expect the unexpected, and putting that veto around Angela's neck. She was shocked. Everyone was shocked. It was amazing to see all those shocked faces. Then Cedric has to put MJ on the block. MJ goes up. It seems like it's all over, but she goes, not so fast. It's not over yet. She pulls out the America's veto and takes herself off the block. The meeting then ends, and we get a little bit of a tease of what's to come, but they don't show us all of the fallout on this episode. Hopefully, we see a lot more of that tonight. And I expect tonight's eviction episode to be very good. Very good. Um, Now, as far as what happened on the feeds, just to give you a little recap, because pretty much everything that we saw on the episode leads us into what happened yesterday on the feeds. But just to give you that extra little recap of things we didn't see, there was a huge house meeting after the veto ceremony. Hopefully, again, we see that on tonight's episode. Lots of massive stuff was all leaked. Alliances, dirt that people were saying about each other was all exposed. Several fights ended up happening throughout the day and night. Check out episode or update number 19 on the channel. That's the one that has everything about what happened. And it was absolutely wild. Another slow day, though, yesterday. They're still exhausted from all of those fights the other day. And it's hard for them to even really talk a lot of game with the whole America's veto Renom situation. For one, they really can't talk about any voting scenario other than Kenney and Tucker, because they, one, don't know who that third nominee is going to be, and two, they don't even know if that person's going to be on the block when they go to vote. So it just makes everything a little bit more difficult to really talk openly about, because you don't want to be like, oh, just throwing Quinn out there, because it seems like Quinn's a pretty likely candidate to be the one. If Quinn ends up on the block and then ends up winning AI Arena, and he hears, oh, you were saying you were going to vote me out over Tucker, that's bad for your game. So nobody wants to really fully commit to a lot of these discussions. But they have, again, we've talked about it, seemingly agreed that, hey, whoever wins or loses, however you want to say it, whoever that happens with the America's vote, they're going to be a pawn. They'll be safe. And, I've been talking about it. It's easy to say when you don't know who it is. It's kind of Schrodinger's nom, right? Like, we don't know who it's going to be. It could be anybody. And it's easy to say, yeah, they're safe, until you find out who actually is the one on the block and who actually is the one who wins the AI Arena. There's just so much that kind of keeps you from really talking openly about it. They did have a really nice dinner and some booze that was delivered, so they had a good time. And let me tell you, Tucker and Rubina, they got a nice little buzz in them, and it got a little spicy. Nothing too crazy. It's not like an official thing, but they are more of a showmance than MJ and Matt ever were. He pulled her in close, grabbed her by the hip. They were holding each other's face. It was intimate. It looked like the cover to a romance novel. It was spicy. Let me tell you. But that's kind of where it ended. They didn't go any further than that. And hey, maybe Tucker's just trying to celebrate his last day in case it ends up being that. But we'll see how that all plays out. As far as, where the votes are, we kind of talked about it the other day. Seems like the collective have all kind of agreed, actually, that Tucker should go over Kenney. And at first, it did seem like maybe that was a little 50-50, where people were maybe leaning more towards Kenney, especially a lot of the girls were all really thinking like, hey, maybe it's better just to get Kenney out since he's calling out the girls. But Tucker seems like the one, since Cedric is the HOH, they kind of want to respect his wishes on it, and they're going to go with Tucker over Kenney if that's the scenario. And they also kind of hope like, hey, maybe Kenney just quits, right? Maybe it ends up being like a double eviction here. Two birds, one stone. But I don't think he would. I think the thing is with Kenney, he was told if he quits, he doesn't get paid. And the fact that they're acknowledging the quitting now makes me feel like maybe, they're a little bit more comfortable because he's promised not to actually quit and he'll see it through. But I'm sure at some point he'll say he wants to go. He was telling people he wanted to go home yesterday during their talks about what the vote should be. So We'll see. We'll see how that all goes. MJ, though, was trying to make sure she gets the votes for Tucker to stay. But the thing is, even Leah is like, why is that good for my game? Like, I don't know. It just seems like most people are going like, yeah, Tucker's just too good, right? MJ really wants to keep him. Rubina obviously would really want to keep him. It seemed like maybe Decor could because Kenney was calling her out, even said like if I won HOH, you'd go up on the block in front of her. And MJ makes these points, right? Like here's the problem. And this is one of those situations where people a lot of times like to think, oh, Big Brother is just about like a playbook that you can run. If you just say the right things at the right time, it'll all work out for you. MJ's kind of saying the right things at the right time. Yeah. You know what? Of the two, who's more likely to put TK up on the block? Who would it be? It'd be Kenney. Tucker's probably not going to do it. So it would be more advantageous in that moment for her to vote out Kenney over than Takor. But it's not as simple as that. She's got lots of other things going on and connective tissues. Quinn kind of mentioned that he was the most insulated player in the game. I don't think that's really true. At one point it was, but after all the blowups and stuff like that, not anymore. But that's kind of a thing, right? If you have a lot of things going on and people that would kind of be upset if you went against what they wanted, you can't just do that in the game. It's not as simple as just what the X's and O's are in there. You have to play the Jimmies and Joes. It's kind of like a college football thing where coaches would be like, yeah, it's not about the X's and O's. It's the Jimmies and Joes. It's the guys you get to recruit to play on your team. It's the people in the house that you're playing. It's not just the situation and a play you can run. It's not as simple as that. Because if it was, everything MJ's saying should work, right? Everything she said has truth to it. Just nobody really wants to listen to it because one, they're not working with MJ, and two, there's just other things going on that they're not open to even discussing. Keeping Tucker over Kenney. They just see him as the threat right now. Is that to say that's exactly how it's going to go? Who knows? Once things happen in the Big Brother house, they can move real quick. Everybody could wake up today and realize, you know what? No, let's get Kenney out of here. So we'll see. Other than that, though, that pretty much kind of covers everything that was happening on the feeds. There wasn't too much more going on there. So it'll be interesting to see how everything plays out tonight on the eviction. Who goes up? Who knows? We did do our poll. I forgot to pull that up to see what the results were of our poll. Let me see if I can do that real quick. And also, if you want to vote, let me see if I can pull this up too. The site is still up. Get your last minute votes in for who you want to be the replacement nominee for America's Veto. Let's see. Can I pull that up? Yeah. Go right to the website here. It's cbs.com/shows/Big Brother/vote. I'll put a link in the description and the pinned comments if you haven't gotten your vote in yet. There's only 9 possible options. I really feel like Brooklyn's pretty safe. I feel like the Chelsea and Cam, people are going to end up splitting their votes. Some people are thinking, oh, Cam would be funny to do because Chelsea would kind of freak out if Cam went up and it would make her kind of spin a little bit more about what's going on with the whole Leah situation. But I think that kind of ends up being a little bit of a split vote situation where neither of them is really in danger because of that. Joseph is an option. I know his name was thrown out there a lot, but it feels like Quinn, like people who would vote Joseph are probably going to vote Quinn in that scenario as well. So I feel like Quinn would end up being the one in more danger. Rubina is an option just because I feel like she's never really on the show, so nobody really sees her. But who knows? Maybe that also kind of keeps her safe because who hates somebody that you barely see on the show? Kind of same thing with the core. You just, she's there. Leah as well. Yeah, she's there. Honestly, I also wanted to see like who they would give a really bad edit to. Who would be the one to like kind of get that edit that makes them like, hey, vote for this guy. And it felt like maybe Quinn a little bit. Like they even at the end of the episode were like, who are you going to vote for America's Veto? And they kind of lingered on Quinn there for a second, like him, do him. But honestly, there's only one person that I think comes off as like a sneaky player for the most part, and that's actually Chemo. I feel like Chemo might have gotten the worst edit in last night's episode So I had him in my original poll, and there wasn't much votes that went towards him. But I wouldn't be surprised if Chemo is seen as someone's like, well, yeah, this all kind of happened because Quinn trusted Chemo and then Chemo ratted him out to Tucker. I could see that being a scenario, but again, I think the leading candidate is Quinn. It feels like a lot of people are putting votes onto him. So let me know what you guys are doing in the comments down below. Let me see. I didn't check on our poll here. Let me see if I can pull this up quick and see what we were saying, because we did two polls. Originally we had Chemo and Leah in there, but they were two of our lowest ones that were in that poll. Let me see if I can pull these up now. Doing it on the fly here for you people. We're doing it on the fly. Let's see, which one is this? As it loads up. All right, this was the first poll, and we had Chemo and Joseph. Both of them ended up getting way less votes. Here, we'll pop that in. That's Cersei Lannister. There's a reason. Listen, there's a reason that Cersei Lannister came up. I potentially was maybe going to replace someone's picture with Cersei Lannister because of something they said on the feeds, but I decided not to do it. If you know, you know. Where were we? Here's the poll. Quinn was our leading vote getter in this poll. Just a huge margin with 47%. Then we had Joseph, Leah, and Chemo in there too. Leah was the second one. Joseph only getting 19%, didn't even get past Leah. And Chemo only was 7%. But again, I could see where, hey, maybe with the edit he got, he could end up being worse off. Then we have our second poll here where we swapped out our two lowest ones with Joseph and Rubina, or Joseph and Chemo, and we switched it in with Cam and Rubina. And it was interesting to see Cam end up getting more votes than Leah in this situation. So Cam's kind of our second highest vote getter. But in all of the votes, Quinn is always getting around 50% of them. So it does seem like he is the most likely to be the one to be put up for America's veto. But we'll have to see how it all plays out, because you never really know what the casual viewers on the TV episodes are saying. They're not watching the feeds, keeping up with everything. Hopefully they would watch my videos and maybe they have a little bit more insight. But there is no real way to know 100% how they're viewing things and what they're thinking. People will look at Twitter, they'll look at Facebook, they'll look at Reddit to try and figure it out. But those are just such a small sample size. People like to think like, oh yeah, like all the people on Twitter are saying this, that must mean everybody thinks it. Not even close. It's a percentage of a percentage. Like, that is how many people are really talking about it. The most people who watch the show are only watching the episodes. They never talk about it online. So it's hard to really get a good view. This just gives us a little snapshot to what people in our community are thinking of. Both of these polls got around 2,000 votes on them. So we'll see how that little bit of a sample size of the millions that watch the show, how that compares. And will it actually be Quinn who goes up? We will have to see. Other than that, guys, thank you guys all again so much for watching. We will be live tonight for the episode. So make sure you come on and hang out for that. We're going to be watching it right here on the channel, reacting to everything that happens. There's a lot to go over, too, whether Quinn is the nominee or whoever else ends up being the nominee, plus who wins the AI arena. So much stuff to go over. Thank you guys all again, though, so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you are new here, though, hit that subscribe button. You like this video? Hit that like button. You made it all the way to the end of this video. Smash that like button. Hit the notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. Check out the links to all my socials in the pinned comment description down below. The Twitch, Kick. I haven't been streaming on there that much. I promise I'll get back to it soon. BB's just very time consuming. Twitter and Discord, which are a great place to keep track of everything going on, especially when I post all my latest videos there when they're up over there as well. And I'll also have a poll for the America's vote. I'll have a link to that as well. If you haven't gotten your votes in yet, for tonight's eviction episode. Make sure you do that before time runs out. Thank you guys all again so much for watching, and I will see you next time.
No napping, house guests.
No, thinking.